Antes de darmos início ao evento, gostaríamos de reforçar o seguinte disclaimer. As manifestações expressas por integrantes dos quadros da Fundação Getúlio Vargas e por convidados que participam dos eventos e transmissões online representam exclusivamente as opiniões dos seus autores e não refletem, necessariamente, a posição institucional da FGV. Após este vídeo de aviso, solicitamos a autorização para o uso da imagem e da voz dos palestrantes mediante manifestações de concordância, tais como um aceno de cabeça ou outro gesto de aprovação. Agradecemos sua participação e desejamos um excelente evento.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's a great pleasure to have you with us today for this special webinar, Leading a Customer-Centric Organization in the Digital Era. My name is Leandro Guissoni, professor at FGV, and involved in this new international immersion program we are launching in partnership with the Darden School of Business, University of Virginia. This webinar is actually the beginning of a broader conversation and one that will actually continue at Darden in Charlottesville during our upcoming immersion week, which we will explain in more detail later in today's session. But it's going to be an experience that blends case studies, business simulations, and classroom discussions with world-class faculty. And speaking of world-class faculty, it's an honor to welcome our guest today, Professor Raj Venkatesan. Raj is one of the world's leading experts in AI, analytics, and customer-centric strategy, and his work has guided many organizations in navigating digital transformation. He's the author of many case studies, research articles, and the cutting-edge marketing analytics book, as well as the AI marketing canvas book. On a quick personal note, Raj was one of my PhD co-advisors during my time at Darden, and Raj has been a great friend and one of the most important voices in shaping how I think about marketing and analytics. Well, Raj, welcome, and a pleasure to have you on. Feel free to engage with the audience, to introduce yourself to the audience, and then we can start our debate.
Thank you, Leandro, for the warm welcome. I'm Raj Venkatesan. I'm faculty here at the Darden School, and I've known Leandro for quite a while now. And I've had great pleasure of working with him on multiple research projects. And I'm looking forward to welcoming you in Charlottesville, Virginia, for a program on strategic customer-centric leadership. And I'm looking forward to the engagement today. Please feel free to ask any questions, engage with us, and we want this to be as interactive as possible. We want to hear what your thoughts are about customer centricity, what the opportunities you're facing, what challenges you're facing. And this is primarily the way we will engage in Charlottesville as well as a cohort. Bringing your experiences as a group together to share and debate and discuss different ideas and navigate this brave new world of AI and customer centricity. So I look forward to our conversation today and continuing this conversation in Charlottesville, Virginia as well.
This is great, Raj. And actually, speaking of engaging with the audience, we already have a question here to warm us up before we start our debate. So this first question comes from Pablo Stenger. He's a professional master's candidate at FGV and a well-known executive in Brazil. And his question is the following. Based on your experience with B2B companies, Raj, which stages of the commercial and sales process and marketing have proven to be more sensitive to the use and application of AI, particularly Gen AI, and measuring gains in customer while trying to generate leads at the top of the funnel?
Yeah. So that's a great question and goes right to the heart of using Gen AI in marketing and sales. And especially in B2B, I can see many applications. And the way we've seen primarily it apply is, again, it comes back to personalization. And how do you understand different customer needs or prospects needs and personalize your marketing communication with them in the top of the funnel, in terms of does a customer want on-time delivery versus a customer who wants service support in different locations across the globe. Depending on these two differences, you can pitch different features of your product automatically using Gen AI. So display ads or ads that then lead to different landing pages that are customized. So in the marketing side, that is definitely something that Gen AI is starting to help. In the sales side, it is helping with engaging with the customers, of course, emails and communicating with the customer using Gen AI is definitely helpful, but also with prompts for salespeople and also summarizing sales calls and sharing that information widely across. So I think it's improving a lot of the productivity of the salespeople. And while in the past, if a salesperson can manage about 10 leads at the same time, now you could even easily see the double to 20. So it can make the salesperson much more productive and also more effective.
Mhm. This is great. This is great, Raj. And in line with your answer, we have also a second question. Do you believe that the use of Gen AI can replace the role of sales teams in the early stages of the customer journey? And what are the risks? What risks should be considered in this process?
Again, a great question, and seems like they're definitely exploring the use of Gen AI. I think the main challenge with Gen AI is that we think it can do a lot of things by itself, but the reality is far from that. You need the human to direct and the Gen AI. Um, I think the other side of this is also you want to consider how the prospect or the customer views uh, the Gen AI. There is still a trust deficit with AI, and papers after papers have shown that customers don't trust recommendations from AI or also consider use of AI as impersonal. So if you are selling a service through your sales organization that is personal and bespoke and customized, then using AI in the early stages risks a bad first impression. So I would still put the salesperson in the front and use Gen AI to improve the salesperson's productivity.
Okay, okay, thank you. Thank you for the thoughtful answer, Raj. And I also have some questions that I would like to address before
Mhm.
we actually give an overview on the program that we are hosting in Charlottesville, and you are the faculty lead, if that's okay for you.
Absolutely.
Okay, okay. So we've been following the evolution of customer centricity and customer engagement over the years, and your research is actually on both themes. How has the customer engagement framework evolved in response to a changing consumer behavior in the digital era?
Yeah, so customer centricity, first, let's look at what are the components of that, right? So, customer centricity, if you define it as understanding customer needs and preferences and delivering value to customers that are consistent with their needs, right? Then, so it's an outside in perspective, it's using customers as the basis for your strategic decisions rather than uh, inside out product based view. Now, when we take this customer centric view of an organization, then the main actions a firm engages with the customers include customer acquisition, customer retention, customer growth, and improving customer advocacy for your products. With the growth of Gen AI and with the growth of technology and digital technology, consumer preferences are shifting more in the sense of the consumers expect you to know them better. It is something where it is it's more than a good to have, it's a must have. And so customers want you to be prepared to know when you talk to them, even at the lead stage, even at the prospecting stage, customers want you to know about them. And so in that sense, they are expecting a lot more personalization. And where marketing is evolving through digital technology and the data that it provides about customers, and the technology in terms of algorithms and machine learning and AI that you have, you are now able to, at scale, understand each customer's preferences and personalize all four aspects of customer engagement that I mentioned: customer acquisition, customer retention, customer growth, and customer advocacy. So the big change that we propose in our book is this move towards personalization of customer engagement. I think that is the biggest shift, I would say, from digital technology. The rest of what we see in terms of influencers or any other kind of use of Gen AI are in the service of this ultimate objective of personalizing customer engagement.
And Raj, you have a pretty well-known book on AI. And since the publication of the AI Marketing Canvas, which is very popular also in Brazil, and I use as a reference in my teaching, as you know, what new applications or developments in AI marketing have surprised or inspired you the most?
I think definitely Gen AI is a big part of it. In fact, I think the place where it has really taken me back is the extent to which it can also do creative work, and the extent to which Gen AI can be used to customize not only like who to target, but even creating the message on the fly. And so I think that to me has been a big big surprise, and a positive surprise, I would say, because I'm always for embracing new technology in a more responsible way, of course, but to go with where the technology is leading you. And I think here, the extent to which it is completely changing the marketing process has really taken me back. And it is starting to, I wouldn't say there are companies out there that are completely shifting their marketing process already using Gen AI. I don't see that happening, but they are definitely starting to implement. Almost every company I speak to is implementing Gen AI and using it effectively, trying to see the right application areas for themselves and where they can use it to make better decisions and also to create more value for customers.
Oh, this is great. And you know, Raj, I usually tell my students that AI is a powerful tool, but it's not a magic wand. So, I mean, use it in the wrong context or without clear safeguards, it can scale mistakes.
Yes.
And in this sense, to pepper our discussion a little bit more, I wanted to ask you a question, but let me give you some more context before. For example, with McDonald's, in the US, they just ended their AI drive-through experiment after a series of frustrating errors. mixing up orders, adding random items, or failing to understand customers. Now, using AI in the drive-thru might seem like a smart way to cut labor costs, but at least in my view, McDonald's has other more strategic areas that could be by far more impactful, like dynamic pricing or personalized promotions, customer engagement, as you mentioned in the beginning of our webinar. And another case, which I think it's more dramatic, is Zillow. Zillow, it's a real estate platform in the US, and a few years ago, they launched Zillow Offers. It was like a bold AI-powered home flipping business. They used their algorithm called Z-Estimate to make instant cash offers on homes, aiming to simplify the selling process. But here's the issue. The algorithm had an error of almost 2%, and with some cases reaching 7%, leading Zillow to overpay for homes they couldn't resell at a profit. So the result was 8 billion drop in market value, 2,000 layoffs. And in your view, what lessons can marketers and business leaders take from these cases or other cases that you have studied about the risks of scaling AI too aggressively in your experience?
Yeah, so these are definitely two big examples of failures, and I don't know why they failed, and I don't know the details of the specific case studies that you pointed out. But I think in terms of yes, there are, I agree that there are failures and successes, and we are at the space where we are experimenting with Gen AI. And the way people are now looking at using Gen AI is they're looking at it's like it's a 2 by 2 matrix where you can consider internal processes versus external customer facing processes as one axis, and existing customers versus new customers as another horizontal axis, if you will. So where people are first seeing success is in the quadrant where it is existing customers and internal facing, where the implementation is more helping people do the work better that they're always doing, and less around customer facing. And learning from that and moving into existing customers and customer facing, probably. And that's where they see like first learning by improving our own internal processes and then moving on to external processes. Having said that, there are companies where I have seen even the internal processes failing because consumers want AI to do everything. And not only consumers, I meant consumers is I meant as users, because I've seen instances where AI is implemented for marketing managers to use the data themselves and without much education, and the company has to abandon the AI implementation because the end users, in this case the marketing managers, were not satisfied with the AI. They expected it to do everything, but as you know, there is a lot of depth in terms of prompt engineering and context engineering that is necessary even when you have an AI to improve your own access to data. So there is a lot to be learned in terms of careful implementation and company culture and capabilities before you can implement AI. On the other hand, I've seen implementations where they have been successful. The case studies are primarily written on successful implementations because no company wants to write a case study on their failures unless you research publicly. If you were to write on McDonald's, that's fine, but you can only have to use public information. They're not going to share information with you on this, understandably so. But there have been successes like Flipkart, which is a major e-commerce platform in India, where they built voice AI for their mobile apps. So people in the interiors of India who don't speak English can use their native languages to interact with the mobile app. And that was all built internally by Flipkart, because like the voice technology, like Siri or Alexa or Google Home, they were not good in the native Indian languages. But Flipkart was able to do that because it has always been a tech company. They started cash on delivery in India. They have their own logistics company. They had the first website for e-commerce in India before Amazon. So they have been very tech savvy and tech forward. And so they had the people inside who could develop this product. But even then, they had to use it on a phased basis. The rollout happened on a phased basis only. The one last thing I would say in all of this is that um, yeah, what people need to understand, and what managers need to educate users, and it's much more difficult with consumers, but at least with internal users, is that the AI learns over time and gets better over time. And the challenge that managers face is that they had to make investments upfront and ride the phase where the product may be making errors and maybe getting trained, or what we call as hallucination. But as it gets feedback and there is reinforcement learning, it does get better and does you do much more better than humans in certain activities. But having the patience and the vision to see that through is really important for firms.
Yeah, no, great example on Flipkart, and also when we talked a little bit about the mistakes companies have made in approaching AI, this is in line with a question coming from the audience. We have so many questions coming from the audience, actually, Raj, and so turning the attention to some of these questions. This is a very interesting one, I think. How can smaller companies with limited budgets begin leveraging AI in a meaningful way?
Yeah,
Raj?
so I think I'm here. Can you hear me? Yeah, I heard the question. And with smaller companies, in fact, one of the case studies we worked on was CFA Institute. They are the institute that provides CFA certifications worldwide. And the advantage smaller companies have is they don't have legacy systems, and they can actually leapfrog the other larger, older companies. And where CFA Institute started doing it was they first used Copilot and then OpenAI, and they started experimenting with different personalized display advertisements for their products. And then now, because they make exams for the CFA certification, they are starting to use AI to give them sample exams. And then finally, the human approves the exams, but the AI is allowing them to generate many more exams and many more options. Right. And they're able to do this because it's a smaller team, although they're worldwide, compared to someone like Flipkart or someone like Yum Brands. They're much smaller, but they're more nimble and they're able to move faster and experiment faster, and also educate their users much faster about this. But in both the examples I gave about CFA Institute, you see that they've not put anything customer facing yet. It is still things that are about their internal processes.
Yes, yes, it seems more related to their internal processes, and I agree with you. They don't have legacy systems. They are, I mean, it reminds me startups, right? So startups are using AI, and the startups that are actually using AI, it seems to me that this has become more the rule right now, and it's easier for them to use AI to maybe to create new products or services, which is related to one question also coming from the audience. So do you think consumers are already buying and consuming products differently due to Gen AI?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you think about travel services, we are all planning on Gen AI, not on using search. And the Wall Street had an article, I believe, this week where it showed that traffic through search is decreasing. Although Google search and regular search is still 90% plus of the traffic, but it is starting to decrease. They had like about a percent point or 2% point decrease in search traffic, which is the first time search has decreased on Google, the regular search. But there is still searches happening on Google on this is AI summaries and people going straight to OpenAI or Perplexity to search. And there are consequences of that for brands in terms of how they advertise, how they engage with these Gen AIs for advertising, and how they understand the relevance of the summary to their brand and how they can advertise on that. So those are brand challenges, but clearly consumers are engaging more and more with the AI summaries for helping them guide their decisions. The challenge with those summaries is consumers need better awareness of making the AI give them true information and also verifying what the AI is providing them. And so that is going to be a challenge that brands have to face now when in this new world where consumers are really, to some extent, they're not educated well enough on how to use these products.
Yeah, and I know how much you like the engagement, engaging with the audience, and also taking some questions. We have one more question from, actually, this question is coming from Fábio. He's an IT manager at Rede Amazônica. And his question is related to avatars using AI. So he's asking, how is AI currently being used to generate videos of people, including digital avatars, and that can speak, move, and behave in ways that it's like real individuals? What are the limitations? What are the risks associated with this technology? I mean, what is your take on this question, Raj?
So it is a very cultural perspective with regards to avatars. I think in East Asia, it is much more popular than anywhere else in the world. There are more avatars and virtual AI avatars in China and Singapore and Korea. In the US, it has been less of an uptake. And Coca-Cola tried an ad that was completely made by AI during the last holiday season in December 24. There was a backlash from consumers about that. And so in the US, I don't know yet when it'll get mainstream, but I'm sure there is a lot happening in the gaming world, which I'm not that familiar with avatars, which are more suitable for that. But this is not the case in East Asia, as I mentioned, where they are using a lot more of this, and even for major brands like Samsung. So I think it's a cultural difference, and it's you need to understand your consumers, where they are, and where your cultural norms are in the country and in the region when using these avatars.
No. Yeah, it's true. And I can see in Brazil, people are actually using a lot those avatars, and even to create avatars to become like influencers and to, to post things and content on Instagram. Instagram is really popular here in Brazil, and people use a lot to do this the search process in the buying and customer journey. So I've been seeing that a lot. I don't know whether this is also it's been happening in the US, but at least in Brazil, I can see that.
Less so in the US, as I mentioned, but I think if you see East Asia, like I said, it's a lot over there.
Yeah, it's very popular. So moving to a topic which I think it's a really important one and connects very well with the immersion program that you are leading at Darden with FGV. It's about leadership in this AI era. So what advice would you offer to marketing professionals who are preparing to lead cross-functional teams in this new AI first landscape?
I think that's a great challenge that leaders are facing. And there are a few things here. I would say there are three pillars to this leadership aspect. One is personal skills, two is cross-functional connection, three is strategic and ethical leadership alignment. I think with regards to personal skills, it's understanding that it's evolving much faster than you expect, and you need to learn and constantly be learning and evolving and adapting yourself, and also building the curiosity of your team to learn better. And the cross-functional side, it is developing people who are cultural brokers between different functional areas. It is about developing empathy for your stakeholders. It is about developing curiosity and asking the right questions of different stakeholders. I think that is definitely a big part of this. And finally, strategic alignment of your AI projects, and also understanding the ethical and responsible management of AI. I think these three pillars are the main aspects of AI leadership that are essential for the development of future leaders.
No, thank you. And I honestly, I also would advise people to read your book and your articles on AI, because I'm sure they are really helpful in managing these three pillars that you just mentioned. We have also another question from the audience. This is Eduardo Davila. And his question is, how can leaders balance the need for innovation and adoption of emerging technologies with cybersecurity and data protection in a customer-centric organization?
Yeah, I think that is definitely, I think cybersecurity and data protection is key. And there are people who are figuring this out over time. And with Gen AI, you need the enterprise accounts and you need to have proper firewalls in place. I'm not a cybersecurity expert or a tech expert to comment on that, except that I know that, yes, this is a risk. And this is something I do believe with proper, careful technology, firewalls can be protected. But I think as with any technology improvement, the risks need to be managed. But doing nothing is not the answer.
This is good. One last question here before we move to the second part of our webinar. So let's talk a little bit about the strategic influence of marketing, sales, and customer experience as a department. In your experience, how can professionals in marketing, sales, and CX, or customer experience, expand their influence at the strategic level, especially with CEOs and board members? Because I've been seeing, at least in Brazil, it's not CEOs and board members quite often, especially from big firms, they are not listening to CX and marketing or sales. They are listening to the CFO or the CIO, the CTO. So I mean, what is your based on your experience in your research, what is the path to build this bridge?
I think the second pillar that I talked about, cross-functional leadership, that is really important, and which means asking the right questions of the CEO. And also, I think the word marketing is a problem, honestly. I think if you, for leaders in this role, need to think about themselves as the customer's advocate within the firms. And that's what they should think about. The way you approach it should be as the voice of the customer and the customer's advocate within the firms. Too often, if you think about whose role it is, it's the role of the CEO, actually, which means as marketers, we should be the ones who are really strategic in that sense, right? Uh, of course, day to day, how do you improve your influence? It is through working with data science teams and with finance teams to understand and show the effect of your marketing, to show the ROI of your marketing. One of the clients I'm working with, uh, multinational, one of the biggest multinationals, and they're challenged with, they have both B2C and B2B companies actually. And the biggest challenge is showing the ROI on their marketing, because it's a marketing, sales, and customer experience coordinated team. But still, how do you show the ROI of the marketing that brings in customers into the funnel and generates marketing qualified leads? And that is the mandate from the top. And to show that financial return is really key to have a better influence within the C-suite.
Great. Thank you so much, Raj. We have one more question from the audience, if it's okay with you,
Sure.
before I move to the second part. So Valdir Pacheco Soares, he is asking how to monitor the use of AI to avoid or reduce scams.
I think it's a broad question in terms of like the answer depends on the context where we are looking at in terms of scams and misinformation. If you think political marketing, it's a one answer. If you think about scams for that target the less educated in the community, older people, that's a different approach. Clearly, education is key. Understanding how to help people to detect misinformation and AI generated misinformation would be key. But I do think it's an ongoing struggle. I don't want to minimize the problem. At the same time, I'm not sure it's easy to. I don't see a silver bullet in this. If I don't see something which is going to solve everything in this, it is a case by case basis. It's a lot of educating the end user, which means it will require a lot of involvement from public and private sector collaboration to help that to achieve this goal.
No, this is great, Raj. So I would suggest that we move to the second part of our webinar. And I imagine everyone is enjoying the discussion so far, at least I am. And I'm quite sure that David and Danielle, they are also enjoying the discussion. But let's turn it over to David from Darden, who will share some ways we can continue this conversation during our upcoming immersion program in November, led by Professor Raj Venkatesan. David, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Leandro. Hello, everyone. My name is David Kutosh, and I, as the byline says, I'm a program director here at the Darden School of Business, which quickly means that I work with Danielle and Raj and other faculty members to stand up really great programs. Very happy to be here with you today. Vanessa, whenever you're ready, we can jump into a very lively PowerPoint. Nothing dry here, just good design. First, just kind of the general topic, right? We're talking about customer centricity, and just kind of in closing the dates of this program in Charlottesville, Virginia. We've identified November 16th. It's a Sunday. It's kind of an arrival day. and then the 20th is a Thursday. We can obviously provide more information about that, but wanted to at least get you those dates right away. From there, we've got a couple of slides. You've met us. You see Danielle here with us. These are our respective roles here at Darden. But let's jump into actually the great faculty that we have staffing this program. Raj and I have been working to make sure that these are the folks at the very top of their respective fields, and the research and expertise that they bring really does complement from an organizational lens the orientation on customer centricity. Program lead is, of course, Raj. A pleasure to work with him. We're also joined by Mike Lennox, who I think has maybe 8 formal organizational titles at UVA, as well as just a lot of resonance across the strategy content area across the world. I think right now he's serving as chief innovation officer, faculty member, and a senior advisor to the president, and so to the president of University of Virginia. Peter Belmy joins us from a leadership and observational behavior group, bringing expertise in organizational design and power, and how actually to kind of orchestrate what you're trying to do from a customer centricity lens at the organizational level. Gabe Adams, also from the leadership group, brings notions of ethics and fairness, because doing one thing, doing customer centricity at an organizational level, is touching lots of different people. And so how do we acknowledge that and design for that in a program that will help the persons who join us do it at a high level? Followed by Chuck Howard, also from the marketing group at Darden. His orientation towards notions of curiosity, moral judgment, financial decision making, broad expertise with Chuck. And then finally, Panina Feldman, who joins us from an operations group. I'm very lucky to have had some good faculty in my life who have taught me that marketing and operations needs to have a lot of conversation. There needs to be a lot of strategy between those two pieces. And so for us to put together a great program that really illustrates the connectivity of customer centricity across the organization means that we absolutely had to have a really high quality member of our faculty from the operations group. Very excited about this program and this faculty in general. But Raj, I wonder if I might turn it back over to you to maybe, this is the broader schedule, but we're actually going to do a little bit of a deep dive into each one. Unless you'd like me to pause here, Raj, I was going to go to a day one focus, unless you'd like me to pause here.
Yeah, let's, I'll just give a broad overview of the idea for this 4 days. The main idea I hope you get from this is that it is not only marketing, that this is a very cross-functional program. And as leaders, you're working as leaders of your marketing organization, as well as leaders connecting with other functions and areas in your organization. So the focus will be on aligning customer and digital and organizational strategy, and understanding, like we just said, how does marketing improve its influence in the C-suite is through speaking the language of finance and understanding what that means in the metrics for customer engagement. And how do you bring a team along towards this change? And how do you develop your teams with how do you develop the skills and mindset of your teams? And that's what we'll focus with: organizational structures and teams. And the offsite group activity is a team building activity, and with a lot of lessons around trust and building trust in teams. And day 3 will be focus on executing on the strategy and vision, which will involve understanding customer preferences and then executing them. This will be the focus of the operations folks and Chuck. And finally, we look at how do we bring this all together in terms of a simulation on developing customer loyalty and customer centricity. And the final day after the simulation will be also a look ahead in terms of exploring roles of digital, exploring the roles of emerging digital technologies. So we start at the top with strategy, understand the roles of people and teams, and then move towards execution and assessing returns of your design. And then finally, we put it all together in a multifaceted simulation and also understand how does all of the learnings apply as technologies evolve.
Yeah. Raj, as being light on the personal action plan, I really do want to call out specifically as a bridge to, and we're just simply showing you some slides of each day. You've seen this information before. We'd be happy to share this as well. And this final day of this personal action plan really very much is an emphasis on our emphasis that folks in theory can do all kinds of things, but it's in practice that actually things get done. Our interest is to create this space for folks to not only at this time over the course of the week, but have a really crystallized, very specific set aside time to understand and identify what they're going to do with this great content. That brings in the importance of the learner in a way that we think will make a lot of meaning for you all. But there's one other element of our pedagogy, of our teaching strategy that is very important. And Raj, I wonder if you want to speak to the case method, please.
Yes, so the case method, if you see today, given the format of the medium here, we were not able to clearly have you debate and discuss with each other, but we at least had the ability to have your questions brought to us and also have Leandro conduct a discussion. So you can see in the first part, we didn't use slides. It was a conversation, and it was about how we discussed the different topics and how we brought you into the conversation as well. The main thing about the case method is that it's an active learning process, and it is a learning process by putting you as a protagonist making decisions. So it is trying to simulate as much as possible your context, your real life in terms of how you would make decisions in your organization with your teams. And so it has three different components. The first, and within all these three components, what we ask for is your engagement, right? We want you to engage with reading the case and really putting yourself in the shoes of the protagonist to understand their challenges and understand their problems that they're trying to solve and see how you would solve their problem if you were the protagonist. So we want you to engage fully with the case and then come to class and engage with your peers who have done the same thing of reading the case and really bringing forth your ideas. The way the case method works is we as faculty are mainly orchestrators of the discussion, and we draw the insights from your discussion. And at the end, we might summarize and we might come up with a framework, but it is clearly a framework that you have a hand in developing. And then we bring in the research to sculpt that framework and present it to you. And also then ask you to debate that framework and see how it may or may not work in different contexts and assess the boundary conditions of these frameworks. And finally, so we want you to engage with your classmates and with the faculty in the second stage. And the third stage is really important, which also adds to the action plan component that David talked about, is personal reflection. As leaders and as senior folks with a lot of experience in the field, it really, you are building your own knowledge base. And that knowledge base is built on not only being curious and listening to different perspectives, but also taking that perspectives and reflecting on what it means for you. What are the things that you thought were true is not true anymore? What are some new insights that you have learned that will apply to your organization and to your own personal development? So we ask you to engage with the personal reflection every day after every session and take some time in the evening to note down what are the main aspects that you've learned. What is it that you thought was true is not true anymore? What is it that you do differently based on what you heard in class today? And as you build this personal reflection, it'll lead up to the action plan that David talked about in the end. So it's really a program where we want you engaged throughout the process. And it is an active learning process. And we do it this way because at your level, theories are being formed by you through your experience and not through reading some 101 book. So this is at the leadership stage at which you are. You need to, the best way to learn is to engage with peers at your level and engage with faculty who have done research across different contexts and build your own knowledge base. And the case method is the best way to do that. At least that's what we have seen in our years of experience. And that's kind of how we will conduct the 4 days with you.
Yeah, the only thing that I would add is Raj talked about this being active learning. It's also active entertainment value, because no two groups, no two people that consume the case materials in advance will bring to Raj or other faculty the same ideas. And so for the entertainment value of seeing Raj needing to make sense of unanticipated perspective and thoughts, I get a lot of value out of that. I enjoy seeing him, orchestrate the learning in that way. And frankly, it just makes for a more human-oriented, learner-oriented experience. Because if we're just, asking Raj to go up there and speak for an hour and a half, that's not really a good use of his energy, of yours. But we're asking you and Raj to co-create something that helps you enhance your own practice, that helps Raj learn a little bit more about the field, but ultimately leads to just an improvement in how we think about the customer and how we put them at the center of our considerations. These are a couple elements of how, these are kind of main elements of how we'll work together, but I want to kind of speak to, I'd like us to speak to another dimension, and that is kind of logistics. We'd like to give you a little preview of what coming to Charlottesville looks like. This is the main view, but I will pass it to my colleague Danielle Wood, who can hopefully help us understand a little bit more about the logistics of the program.
Hey, thanks, David. I'm Danielle Wood. I'm the program manager here at UVA Darden Executive Education and Lifelong Learning. As David just mentioned, what that means is I'm responsible for the logistics and making sure that your time at Darden is comfortable and pleasant so that you could just focus on your learning. So I want to show you where you will be staying in Charlottesville. So our program location on the left-hand side of the screen, that is the Darden Classroom Building, which is where you will be learning each day. On the right is the Kempton Forum Hotel, which is where you would stay throughout the program. There's about a 2-minute walk from the hotel up to Darden Classroom Building. So it is nice that we have this lovely, luxurious hotel on Darden grounds. You will notice at the University of Virginia, we do not call it a campus, it is grounds for us. So you'll hear that referenced quite a bit. Just a few details about the hotel that we will be using. So the reservation is made on your behalf. I will do that for you. If there's extra dates you need before, after the program dates, I'll work that out with you. No worries there. The hotel does have 2 dining options located on site in addition to their room service. Guests also have access to the on-site fitness room, as well as across the street, we have the University of Virginia North Grounds Rec Center, which has a lovely swimming pool. If you are someone who likes to do laps, swim laps. That's an option there. And like I already mentioned, the hotel is within walking distance of the classroom building. So it's nice and convenient, and it makes sure that your time at Darden is well spent. Right.
I think, Vanessa, that wraps up our formal PowerPoint. I think I probably should have given you a heads up before I suddenly did that, but I appreciate your patience with me. I want to turn it back over to Leandro and Raj and see if there's something top of mind for us to go to next.
Yep.
Do we want to take any questions from the group on the logistics and the locations? Oh, there are more questions coming, I see, on AI, but maybe I will answer that or try to respond to this. But any questions on logistics or the location? Okay.
I think there will be some questions, but then we can touch base with candidates and students who are interested in taking this program. So feel free to answer this last question on AI.
Yeah,
right?
it's a broad question. I think it'll take a lot of it can cover a lot of ground. But only one observation I would make is that, at least for now, AI is a tool. It is not the end. And I think the customer centricity and the strategy of engaging customers is still true and holds true from the pre-AI world. AI can help you get there better, and managers need to figure out what are the main needs for their own organizations for using AI, and how will AI build better trust between them and their consumers.
Yeah, building trust. This is being more transparent, building trust. I think these are some of the pillars, right, Raj, to build a more customer-centric organization, as Reinaldo asked.
Yeah, and I think folks forget, like I see people not ignoring, placing less emphasis on the trust part, but in fact, it is the most important part with AI. And what we need to really understand when using AI is how your customers are going to perceive the use of AI and how your customers are going to engage with it. That truly talks to a customer-centric mindset where you're understanding your products from the eyes of your customer. And so that holds true even for AI. As you're adding AI features or building new AI-driven products, understanding what value are you delivering your customers. The customer is not trying to use your product, or customer is not excited that you have AI. Customer gets excited that you solved a problem for them. That's what they are concerned about. And so the best way is that AI is in the background, or it's not seen by the customer, or it's, or even if it is there, it's transparent, but the customer sees that it is used to solve their problem and create value for them. I think that is the key here, that but it's easier said than done, I understand, but I think firms that can do this well and put customers in the center of their AI decisions, I predict are going to do well.
Yeah. Well said. I completely agree with you, Raj. So I just want to thank you, David, Daniel, and also Raj. Thank you so much for your thoughtful and insightful responses. It's been a real privilege to learn from your perspective, and we deeply appreciate your time to share your knowledge. I know that you are a very busy person. I know that you have 2 kids. I know that you travel a lot to teach and to do research. So thank you. And also thank you to everyone who tuned in. We appreciate your time and attention, and looking forward to the program in Charlottesville. And if you ever have any question related to the program, to the immersion program, we have a website that you can try to search FGV and Darden Immersion Wiki, and it's gonna lead you to our website where you can also ask questions through WhatsApp, or also be in touch with, in this case, with myself, and also with our team. And for sure, we can touch base with David, Daniel, and Raj to address some of your questions and concerns. And I truly believe this is going to be a really transformative experience, and looking forward to it.
Thank you, Leandro, and thank you, FGV, for organizing this great session. And we look forward to seeing all of you in Charlottesville in November.